your Facebook page properly too.
Sweet. And I'm on my phone again, and so if we need to share a screen, you'll have to do it.
Okay. All right, it looks like we are live. Let me make sure I can cross post you. There we are. All right, so I assume people can probably hear us.
I think so. It looks like it's live. Yeah. Hey, if you're in here, I could put some comments in there. Where are you watching from? Can you hear us now?
All right, so now it looks to be cross-posting to Texans for a Responsible Marijuana Policy. So we should be live on both. I'm checking on my cellular device, as one does. Okay, here we are, Heather. We are live and direct onto Facebook, of course.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in with us this evening. My name is Heather Fazio. I'm the director of Texans for Responsible Marijuana Policy, and I am here with my friend and colleague, Jax Finkel. She is the executive director of Texas NORML, also the director of the Foundation for an Informed Texas, which has been doing a great job of putting out some incredible content. As we make our way into the legislative session, we know that there's a lot to know about cannabis, so it's great to have these resources available. So great work, Jax.
Pleasure to be here with you, Heather, and I'm really glad that you were able to kind of bridge the gap and make the Zoom possibility for what we're about to talk about possible. So it's been a very wild ride, riding the COVID ride with you.
Yeah.
So it's good to be here, and I see some people are watching. I just want to let everybody know what we're going to talk about tonight is the upcoming virtual lobby day. So it's a new thing. We haven't done it before. We've seen a little bit of confusion out there. So we thought, hey, let's do a live stream. We can explain it. And if people have questions, we can answer them live.
Yep, that's right. Okay, so every legislative session for the last several, we have hosted a big lobby day at the Capitol. We know that there are millions of Texans that want to see these laws changed, and many thousands that are mobilizing to action, calling their legislators, writing emails, personal letters. And on lobby days, we all descend upon the Capitol and visit with our legislative offices to talk about the good reasons for supporting marijuana law reform, decriminalization, medical cannabis, and increasingly legalization is now on the table for conversation in Texas. But of course, as we know, we're all having to adapt and overcome challenges, particularly with regard to COVID. The Capitol does have some pretty strict guidelines in place for making sure that everyone stays safe. And because we can't bring hundreds of people to the Capitol, not only would it not be safe, but the Capitol simply isn't allowing large groups. We're having to adapt and create a virtual platform for folks to come and visit with their legislators, talk to them about this issue. And we're going to be using a Zoom platform, and we're going to be using breakout rooms to do it. There are 181 legislators that work at the Texas Capitol and represent all of us throughout the state. And so we're going to be orchestrating videos or video conferences, video meetings with every office and constituent so that they can share their personal stories or professional experience that has brought them to supporting marijuana law reform.
Yeah, so to that end, you know, it's going to be a two-part process. And I think that that's what we really want to highlight is how does the process work so you can participate, right? So you're going to have these video meetings with offices, but how do we get to that point? So typically when we meet in person, we've got the auditorium or some hearing rooms, depending on which years you've come and lobbied with us, and we kind of give an orientation. We have handouts available. We have all of these different tools on hand for you. And then we break you up into teams by district, and you have guides that kind of help you walk through the Capitol. Well, we've just made it all virtual. So we're going to have orientations 2 times available, and we'll have moderators helping with the rooms whenever we have the actual lobby day. So you'll see a link in the description of this video. You need to click the link so that you can make sure you register for the orientations. that's the biggest thing here, right, Heather? You have to participate in one of the 2 orientations. So we've got one on Saturday. I believe the one on Saturday is at noon. And then we have one on Sunday at 3 p.m. So just to give that with the full date so there's no confusion, Saturday, February 20th at noon is orientation number 1, or you can participate on Sunday, February 21st at 3 p.m.
That's right. And, we're doing this orientation to help avoid it being a disaster on lobby day. There's going to be so many people, and we are, Zoom is familiar for many of us, but maybe not for everyone. And so in order to avoid any of those unnecessary challenges on the day of the event, which is Monday, February 22nd, those orientations, we're going to talk through policy objectives, current policies, and why they need to change. They're going to talk about how you can learn more about your legislator. What are their voting records? What committees do they sit on? Maybe that helps to prompt conversation and how you want to steer the discussion. And then we're going to do a dry run. We're going to break into these breakout rooms. You're going to visit with folks, maybe share your testimony as a practice run, and then we're going to come back together and finish out the orientation. It'll only be an hour out of your time, out of your day, your weekend rather. And once you have participated in that, then you will receive a follow-up email with a link to the meeting with your legislator or their staff, of course, on Monday, the 22nd. So there's a 2-part thing. I call it our Texas 2-step, huh? Orientation over the weekend, and then lobby day, February 22nd. Everyone is welcome to join us for this lobby day. Even if you've never done this before, you're inexperienced, but you support the cause. Maybe you don't go front and center during the meeting. You let folks that have personal stories go first. But being there to support the cause is really important. Sitting in on this meeting, letting your legislator know that you care about this issue from their district and you want them to make it a priority. This is going to be something we really need to really drive home, is that this issue is a priority because they are facing so many issues. Legislators are this legislative session. So we need to make sure that this all circles back to the economy. This circles back to public health. And there are good reasons for, our more progressive and our more conservative allies to really come together, find common ground, and get some legislation passed this time around.
Yeah, and during the orientation, it's not just going to be me and Heather talking. We've got a couple of really great guest speakers that are going to be talking about, effective arguments and points that you can make when you're in these meetings. We're going to have Dr. Olga Obi talking about medical cannabis. We're going to have Judge John Delaney talking about penalty reduction. And we're going to have Dwight Clark from Vicente Sederberg talking about the retail market. So we're going to be joined also, I think, by John Bauckham, and he's going to be talking about, etiquette in meetings, what to expect out of these meetings. So I think it's, an hour, but it's a lot of content. So I think it's really important that people participate. And I wanted to also set the expectation that once you participate in orientation 1 or 2, you'll get the confirmation for your Zoom room meetings that Sunday evening. So don't worry if you don't hear from us, immediately afterwards with your sign up. You're going to get it Sunday evening to your email, and that will give you the login information for your specific district Zoom meeting. We're going to break everybody out into breakout rooms, and we'll have done a practice run. So hopefully everything will go perfectly. You never know with technology, but it'll be fine. And then did you want to go over the schedule for actual lobby day, Heather, so people kind of know on Monday what are the time frames that we're going to be looking at?
Yeah, so we're breaking it up into chunks because we can't host every meeting at one time. And so what we'll be doing is hosting our very first meeting at 10 a.m. And don't know that I have this document pulled up in front of me with all of the times. So
I do.
Excellent. Well, Jax, will you go ahead and talk about the schedule then for lobby day?
Yeah, and actually, why don't I try sharing my screen so that everybody can see what it looks like for a second?
Oh, yes, virtual.
And I just want to remind everybody to put your comments there if you have, and questions if you have any. All right, so here's lobby day schedule. So it's going to be broken up by your district number. And so only you will know what your agenda is because you know your district numbers right now. So if you're trying to figure out exactly what time, go ahead and click this identify your Texas House and Senate districts, and that'll let you know which time frames you're in. So you can see that House districts 1 through 50, Your meeting is going to start at 9:45 to get everybody ready and into their rooms, and then the meeting will actually start at 10 a.m. And then all Senate districts, because there's 31 Senate districts, will have check-in time at 11:15 a.m. Then it'll be followed by House Districts 51 through 100. That'll be at 12:25 p.m. I think it says 12:24 right there, but I'm pretty sure we meant to put a 5 there, so I'm gonna edit that. and then Texas House District 101 to 150 will check in at 2:15. So the latest you will likely be with us if you're in that last group is 3:30. We have these blocks set aside, so that's how that'll work. Let me see if there's any questions right now in the chat. Was there anything that you wanted to highlight about that, Heather?
So each of us are going to have 2 meetings, basically. We are going to, I think they can hear me, but they can't see me, and that's okay. Oh, here we go. We're each going to have 2 meetings. We're going to have a meeting with our state representative's office and another meeting with our state senator's office. I want to talk specifically about the senators because, number one, they're a big priority for us this legislative session. We've had success in the Texas House of Representatives, and we're going to continue to shore up that success and get ourselves out of the House again and into the Senate. So for real consideration on legislation, because we've seen that roadblock before, but we also know that Senate districts are larger. There are only 31 Senate districts in the entire state, and there are 150 representative districts. So several representative districts fit into one Senate district, and that means that there's a lot more people. So we want to make sure that we are streamlining this meeting. We're being respectful of our neighbors' time and making sure that those with personal stories or professional experience have time to really share those. So we're encouraging everyone to keep their comments to 1 to 2 minutes, something brief, introductory, let them know a little bit about yourself, especially if you do have that personal experience or you have a background in the medical field or in law enforcement. And then follow up with a thank you for their time, but then also with maybe a 1-page letter that goes into a little bit more about your history and why you support the cause. So making sure that you're prepared for that going into the meeting is going to be really helpful. And make sure you take notes, ask questions, and find out more about where they're coming from. It's important for us to meet people where they are, and so that we can bring them to where we want them to be. But in order to do that, we have to ask questions. We have to have an understanding. So don't be afraid to ask those questions, take notes, and get those notes back to us, because we'll be interested to know about how those conversations went.
And on the link that's in the description, there is, a how to prepare section. And part of that I want to make sure everybody is really clear on is that you are going to need a Zoom account, right? So if you don't already have the app on your phone or access to it through your computer, you need to make sure that you do set that up in advance. You will need that. So right now, if you do not have a Zoom account, get a Zoom account. I also have someone saying, what happens if I don't have a camera? What if I don't have a laptop? Well, whenever Zoom sets up one of these meetings, they always have a phone option. So you can dial in through a landline, a cell phone, and you can also join us on your laptop or through actually an app on your phone, excuse me. So I just wanted to say, just because you don't have a camera, do not think that you cannot participate. You can call from a landline, and it is not 1997, but you can still do that if you would like to.
Yeah, that's right. It is, of course, much more engaging if you're able to arrange to have a computer, have someone come with you, come meet you at your house if that's something that's safe, or borrow one, because having that face-to-face communication really goes a long way in sharing these stories. And if you're able to do that, that's certainly going to add a lot of value to your meeting. But we definitely want them to know that there are lots of constituents in their district that support the cause. And if it's only because you can come, you can only come because you can call in, we'll take it.
Absolutely. And I mean, just to the point of what we're saying, I'm streaming from my laptop, but Heather is on her cell phone, right? So you can still have a high quality look, you just have to have it all set up. And to that end, make sure that you have something where you can hear well. An ear set is best because it is easy for background noise to become distracting in these types of meetings. Try to get some good lighting, turn it on so that people can see your face. Do not just hide in a dark room, even though it may be your vibe that day. So a few things and tips to prepare on there. There's also some links to different resources if you want to read up on that. So I think that there's a lot of good things there. I'm going to see if there's any other questions real quick, Heather.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing it. Farah said that she has shared it all over all of her Texas groups. I appreciate that. I would really love it if we could have just so many participants from across the state, because in the past it has been nice to be in person, of course, and to have like 400 plus people all dressed professionally on a Tuesday talking about cannabis law reform is most excellent. But I think that this will allow people who maybe couldn't typically travel or couldn't come on a Tuesday to hopefully be able to participate from the comfort of their homes. So I'm very hopeful that we'll have a lot of attendance, and I thank all of y'all for sharing.
Yeah, and again, this is for anybody that wants to participate and show support. You do not need to be a cannabis expert to have a powerful statement to your legislator about why you support this in general. We can keep it simple, and that's okay. Leave it to the experts. Let the doctors talk about the endocannabinoid system. Let the lawyers talk about the nuances of details of how these laws work. You get to be there to talk about, on principle, why you support changes to our law, a personal impact that these laws have had on your life or the life of a loved one, and the brighter future that Texas has in store when we once and for all repeal marijuana prohibition, stop saddling people with criminal records, and bring this market into the light of day where it's safer all around.
And a lot of people that watch on our pages, they're patients and they have a story to share, and it's those personal stories that we've been able to see move the hearts the most. So I agree with Heather, just kind of like stay in your lane to what's really true to what your story and what you know, and you should be good. So I'm not seeing too many more questions here. So before we go, Heather, I say let's say what we're going to do real quick. We've got the Texas two-step if you want to do the virtual lobby day. I'm loving that, Heather. We're going to use it from now on. And so you have to register for one of the orientations and complete them. The orientations are on Saturday at noon and Sunday at 3 p.m. Sunday evening, you will receive registration information for your actual meetings with your legislator. You will have one meeting with your representative and one meeting with your senator. You can determine those times by finding out what your districts are and looking at the lobby day agenda that we have on the link provided in this description. Make sure you have a Zoom account. Make sure that you are ready to either dial in or Zoom in with your camera and connect with your legislator.
I think that's it. Prepare that one-page letter, that testimonial. If you have more to share, you certainly won't be able to dive deep into this stuff because of our time restrictions and a good number of people logging in. So make sure you're prepared now, understanding who your legislators are, where they stand on the issue, and a letter to them as a follow-up. And I think that is all we've got for today. Lobby Day is February 22nd. That's not this coming Monday, but the following Monday. So just under 2 weeks away until Lobby Day. Come one, come all. And we need all hands on deck this legislative session. We have a lot of challenges to overcome. It's going to get more difficult as we get closer to winning. As our movement gets closer to winning, things are going to get more difficult and more complicated. And we have to stay the course and continue to work hard.
Absolutely. So everybody share this stream right here and the link where you can register, and make sure that everybody knows that it's a virtual lobby day. You can attend from anywhere in Texas, and we hope that everyone feels empowered to join and connect with their legislators. And I think on that note, Heather and I will say adieu. Good night, everybody.